Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 4, and this is our topic. It's about understanding about taboos, enhancing communication, and a study in Malaysia. Our group member is Wang Xiaoyu, Ding Lingzhi, Zhao Xiangchen, Wu Zhou, and Wang Chuanzhao. We totally have 9 contents, and the first section is about introduction. Malaysia is a multicultural, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious country, a unique context that makes the study of cultural taboos particularly important. Cultural taboos are important parts of social norms and have a profound impact on people's daily behavior and social interactions. Within this framework, this paper will elaborate on the research in 5 areas, namely the complexity of cultural diversity on the study of taboos, the role of cultural taboos in social interactions, the impacts of modernization and globalization on traditional taboos, cultural taboos and business practices, and the legal and policies implication of cultural taboos, together with the relevant lectures to support the analysis. And the second section is research objectives. And in this section, we have 5 thematic areas. And this study examines the persistence and the transportation for cultural taboos in Malaysia within a multicultural and globalized context. And the first area is about the complexity of cultural diversity for the study of taboos. And the second area is the role of cultural taboos in social interactions. And the third area is the impact of modernization and globalization on traditional taboos. And the fourth is cultural taboos and business practices. And the last one is legal and policy implication of cultural taboos. And the next section is about response profile. And in this section, the research on Malays, Indians, Chinese, and ethnic minorities is aimed then at comprehensively understanding the complexity of taboos in Malaysia's multicultural society, the impact of cross-cultural interactions, the impact of modernization and globalization on traditional taboos, and the role of taboos in business practices and legal policies in order to promote cultural inclusivity and social harmony. Okay, this is the simply population. We totally have 8 informants, and they are Bidayang, and Malays, and Chinese, and Indian. The fourth section is overall map. The first level is Malay cultural taboos, and the second level we have 5 sections. And how different the cultural backgrounds affect taboos is religion and race, and how cultural taboos affect the communications, relationship, and community dynamics. And the role of taboos is communication and the difficulty of discussing taboos topics, and the social consequence of breaking taboos and their specific situational manifestation. And the third one is the impact of modernization and globalization on traditional taboos. And they consist of specific influence of globalization on taboos and the specific impacts of modernization on taboos. And the third one is the impact of cultural taboos on ethnic customs relationships and cross-cultural business. Cultural taboos and ethnical relationships, and cultural taboos and cross-cultural commerce. And the impacts of cultural taboos on law, policy, and human rights consists of legal policies and cultural taboos, and human rights and cultural taboos. The 5th section is about the research method. Cultural study in UTM. In this study, qualitative research method was used to conduct a study on Malaysian cultural taboos by obtaining sample data though some open-ended questionnaire. Next section is data analyzing. After the data collection process, researchers organize the original audio or transcribe the data into written reports. The transcription was done word for word. Consequently, the notes and the questionnaires from all 8 information providers total 64 pages. To explain the issues under investigation, researchers systematically analyze the data using thematical analysis until them well formed. By analyzing each of them separately, they uncovered the underlying meanings behind each item. Objective 1 is to explore how different cultural backgrounds shape the understanding and interpretation of taboos. And some of Malays, they have been exposed to Islam since they were young and have a best understanding of taboos of both Chinese and Indian people. For example, they are aware of the Hindu aversion to beef and the Chinese traditional cultural aversion to the number 4, as well as the need for auspicious words during festivals. Malay taboos rooted in Islam govern food, social etiquettes, and public conduct, such as surpassing objects with the right hand order of respect. Frequent cross-cultural interactions forced the awareness of Chinese and Indian taboos, where religious norms strongly influenced the Malay society. Modernization and gradually losing traditional restrictions among younger generations. And some of the Indians, they think they have been exposed to Hinduism since childhood. The India replay stated, I am an Indian who has lived in Malaysia for 4 generations. The cultures of their races are not deeply understood by our family. The community where I live in India, I still hold onto some conventional cultures and values, including my extreme distaste of homosexuality. Even if I enjoy new things and civilizations, and India cultural taboos rooted in religions and the caste system influence practices like avoiding beef and respecting elders, especially during festival and family gatherings. Limits cross-cultural interaction results in less awareness of other cultural taboos, and modernization has led to greater adaptation to contemporary culture in social behavior and daily life. And some Chinese, they think, I'm pretty familiar with their cultures because the town when I grew up had both Chinese and Malay people around me. They are also a good member of India co-workers. Over time, I come to understand that my family is even more traditional than the Chinese who originates in that country. And Chinese cultural taboos rooted in folklore and sector worship include avoiding the number 4 and certain colors during ceremonies. Their taboos are permanent during traditional festival and family gatherings, emphasizing feng shui and auspicious customs. Despite the modernization, the Chinese community continues to uphold these traditions, especially during key cultural celebrations. And some Bidayah, they think, Malaysia is where I was born, despite the fact that I'm also an Islamist, and we dress and behave differently than the Malays. The accent, Shemitic worship of nature is still practiced today, we don't have much exposure. There aren't many of them where we live, and taboos in certain Malaysian communities are tied to nature worship and ritual, such as avoiding specific forest areas or animals believed to hold spiritual significance. These taboos are most evidenced during traditional celebrations and aim to maintain harmony between nature and to the community. Despite modernization, these groups remain deeply rooted in their traditional roots, similar to the Chinese human. This is object 2, is to understand how cultural taboos influence communications, relationships, and community dynamics. The role of taboos in communications. About 70% of participants believe taboos help maintain social order and reduce conflicts, such as respecting elder and avoid offensive language. And about 30% see taboos as restrictive, causing misunderstanding, like gender-related taboos in Bidao community or Chinese sensitivity to family conflicts. And in discussed taboo topics, about 65% of participants feel comfortable discussing taboos in contexts like halal food or marriage and about 35% feel uncomfortable avoiding sensitive topics like nature worship or death. And the social consequence of breaking taboos, about 16% of that breaking taboos, such as violating marriage ritual, leads to social exclusion or family conflicts. About 40% notes fewer consequences, especially among younger generations, as traditional taboos weaken in modernization settings and taboos in specific social contexts. Taboos are essential in cross-cultural interactions, such as avoid linguistic taboos or respecting religious rituals in family and business environments. The next one is objective 3, is to examine how modernization and global integration affect traditional taboos. And main terms in taboos challenge, globalization and modernization have led to the relaxation of certain traditional taboos, particularly among younger generations. For example, dress codes and gender-related restrictions are becoming more flexible in many communities. And the second one is specific influence of globalizations. Increased cross-cultural integration has introduced new perspectives, diluting some traditional practices while promoting cultural exchange. And commercial settings now often prioritize the inclusivity over strict adherence to local taboos. And coexistence of modernization and traditional taboos. Traditional taboos and modernization can coexist when adapted to contemporary context, such as combining modern fashion with traditional values. And cultural perspection efforts ensure that core taboos remain relevant even in globalized environments. This is objective 4, is to assess the role of cultural taboos in shaping ethical standards, customer relations, and cross-cultural business practices. And importance of taboos in business environments. About 19% of respondents emphasize the need to respect the cultural taboos, such as providing halal food or Muslims and avoiding the number 4 in gift for Chinese claims to foster trust and mutual respect in business setting. And the impact of ignoring taboos on business. About 85% know that ignoring taboos lead to dissatisfaction, misunderstanding, and even failed partnership, highlighting the importance of adhering to local customs and etiquettes, and connection between taboos and core cultural business interactions. About 75% recognize the taboos as essential tools for fostering understanding in cross-cultural environments, stressing the need for foreign business to respect the religious and cultural taboos in Malaysia, and stages for employee training and management regarding taboos. About 65% recommend training programs to enhance cultural awareness, improve teamwork, and respect direct and religious taboos, fostering inclusivity in the workplace. Let's move on. Objective 5 is to understand the impact of cultural taboos on legal frameworks, policy development, and human rights considerations. Reflection of taboos in existing laws. Estimate taboos such as dietary rules and marriage restrictions are heavily reflected in Malaysian laws, promoting stability. However, some minority groups feel these laws inadequately address their taboos, creating perceived unfairness. And balancing cultural sensitivity and universal freedom. About 70% believe laws should balance cultural sensitivity with universal freedom. Inclusive policies and multicultural education are seen as key to reduce conflicts and preserving diversity. And the impact of taboos on legal decision making. About 55% of respondents believe cultural taboos, especially religious ones, should influence legal policies to maintain social order. Examples include halal foods, certification, and protecting scarce assets. However, 45% argue laws should remain neutral to ensure fairness and objectivity. And legal protection for challenge taboos. About 16% support legal protection for challenging traditional taboos to reflect model values and inclusivity, while 40% opts it, and fearing it will disrupt the social order and community traditions, and which taboos should be legally enforced. And religious and moral taboos, such as laws protecting security and punishing blasphemy, are widely supported. However, some taboos, like gender restrictions, are deemed unsuitable for legal enforcement by certain groups. The next section is conclusion. In religious and family-oriented societies like Malays and Indians, taboos promote group coherence and facilitates the cross-cultural understanding. However, they can also restrict the individual freedoms, such as avoid topics like death, and which may practical consequences. And different ethnic groups have a distinct focuses for taboos. Malays prioritize regions. Vidal emphasize the human nature relationships, and Chinese focus on family and essential rituals. While taboos foster mutual understanding, excessive restrictions can create barriers. balancing traditional taboos with modern values and essential to promote inclusivity and preserving cultural diversity, requiring collective efforts across all ethnic groups. And taboos in Malays and Indian foster cohesion but may restrict freedoms like avoiding class discussion. Malay, Bidayal, and Chinese taboos focus on religion, nature, and family. Balancing tradition with modern value promotes inclusivity and diversity. And Malays and Indians maintain strong religious taboos. Though modern influences affect areas like clothing and food, Chinese and Bidayal taboos are more secularized and integrate into modern life with some traditions adapted symbolically to align with contemporary needs. And respecting traditional taboos in business forces truth, customers' loyalty, and course cultural understanding. Course cultural training help avoid conflicts, enhance reputation, and improve customer satisfaction. Emphasizing cultural taboos enable businesses to navigate global challenges effectively. And in Malaysia's multicultural society, religious taboo, especially Islamic one, significantly influence laws and policies. However, secularization and modernization challenge traditional taboos, with younger generations favoring universal freedoms. The government must balance cultural preservation with inclusivity and promoting coexistence and sustainable development among diversity cultures. And let's move on. Theoretical and practical significance of the study. And theoretical significance, taboos are integral to cultural identity and reflecting social values and fostering group cohesion, and particularly in family-oriented and religious communities such as Malays and Indians. They played a dual role and promoting mutual understanding and social harmony, while sometimes restricting individual freedom and expressions. I think in the avoidance of topics like this, and the focus of taboos vary among communities, with Malays prioritizing religious values, Bidayal emphasizing harmony with nature, and Chinese centering on family and external rituals. And practical significance is globalization and modernization are reshaping traditional taboos, encouraging adaptation to modern contexts while preserving core cultural elements. Business in multicultural Malaysia benefits from respecting taboos, enhancing truth that avoiding cultural conflicts. Cross-cultural training and awareness further strengthen business celebrated and customers satisfaction in globalized environments. And religious taboos significantly influence Malaysia's laws and politics, with Islamic value holding the most substantial sway. However, challenges arise as younger generations advocate for universal freedoms and inclusivity. For future efforts must be balance traditional values with modern demands, fostering a society that respects diverse cultural norms while promoting sustainable development and social harmony. And the last section is research limitation and future directions. The limitations is this study offers valuable insights into the role of taboos in Malaysia's multicultural communication, but is limited by a small sample size, which may not fully represent diverse ethnic perspectives, and reliance on self-reported data introduces potential response bias, and the study does not explore how traditional taboos evolve over time or under globalization's influence. And the future directions is future research should expand to include longer, more diverse samples, and particularly from minority groups to better understand taboos impact across cultures, and comparative studies with neighboring regions such as Singapore or Indonesia should examine the university and cultural specific about taboos and longitudinal studies could also explore how taboos adapt to modernization and shifting social norms over time. Okay, thank you for your listening.